the benefits and just see how it can improve the well-being and how and see if it works for me. I want to give it a try. I've never tried it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Vanita, what are you expecting?
Nidhi, like I told you, I've gone off sweets, I've gone off carbs, I've done intermittent fasting now only for 10 days, but my scale doesn't seem to be going left at all.
Too early? 10 days is too early, Baba. Hello, 10 days is too early. I can tell you.
ना तो मैंने कोई मीठा खाया, ना तो कोई carbs खाए, but still somewhere,
love it.
Something has to change, yeah.
Okay, we have our
all right. I think I need to get attention. I'm happy to put everyone now.
Oh.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Namaste, Ashwini here. And it is really, really nice to see you all talking to each other. And I really don't feel like starting the meeting. I just feel like the meeting has already started. So welcome once again. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking out time. I was just waiting for participants to join. I think everyone is here. So how are you all today?
Very good, thanks.
Good.
Excellent. So I hope the Diwali preparations are going on full zoom. And I believe this webinar is happening at the right time because there's going to be a of going off track with all the Diwali sweets coming in and the celebrations coming in. I think this webinar is what is going to keep us on track, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it is really nice that we already started talking about what we need to be fasting. So that quickly, I just introduce myself. Few of them who may not be knowing me right now is Ashwini Harish. I'm the founder of Organics, an online store based in UAE selling organic and sustainable products. But that doesn't end there. We strongly believe that we need to empower ourselves with knowledge about the products that we use, which can actually add value to our day-to-day living, not once in a while, but day-to-day living. Also, to know the little things that really make a difference, and that's exactly the reason why we conduct the webinars regularly by inviting health experts across UAE, and soon we'll hopefully be inviting experts from India as well. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for taking out time and empower yourself. I would request you all to keep your phones off. Most important,
Yeah.
Nidhi ji, our presenter today, excellent lady with abundance of knowledge, and she has this brilliant way of teaching very nicely, step by step, which enables viewers to understand exactly how to implement what is being taught. I'm sure many of you already know she is a clinical nutritionist and a health coach as well. A wonderful person, a wonderful human being, and we've been working. And webinars are amazing. I would only request you next webinar with her. Do spread the word because many more people need to know about the beautiful things that she teaches us. So, without taking much time, I would like to take it with Nidhi. Nidhi, welcome on board. I'm sure all your friends have already invited you. So beautiful. It was really nice to see.
I think, Ashwini, we should put ourselves on mute because there's a lot of external sound.
Yes. I'm
Because
going to
otherwise...
I'm going to mute you all myself.
Yeah, okay, fine. You will. All right, great. Thanks. Yeah, I think we're all on mute now.
I think please don't unmute yourself. That's a request. And Nidhi ji, where are you? I'm not finding her now suddenly.
Yeah, she's very much there.
Yeah, I just have to find her. All right.
I think, Ashwini, I'm only the one from India.
Welcome. All right, I'll just...
I'm waiting for you to start your products in India.
Yeah, we are launching soon for sure. The process is going on. So hopefully 6 months time we should be there.
Oh, that's long way.
Yeah, it does take time. Nidhi ji, welcome on board. And thank you so much for presenting this webinar for us. without making much time, let's begin. Yeah. So I would like to start with few questions because I think intermittent fasting is something which has been hugely trending in the wellness and weight loss industry in the last few years now. And we can't really wait to learn about this popular trend in today's webinar. So first thing that I would like to ask you is what exactly is intermittent fasting?
Thank you, Ashwini. Before I answer that question, I just wanted to thank you for providing this lovely platform. And I wanted to thank all the participants for taking out time and coming here today. I know it's the festive season, though it's not regular time and we are all not that involved. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this webinar just 1 week before Diwali. But world has changed, life has changed, and yeah, there's a new normal. So I'm happy to be here today and discussing intermittent fasting. The reason I chose this topic for today's webinar, we've done a lot of scientific topics before. This is also scientific, but it's more something which has become like a huge buzzword. I mean, every party you go to, every social gathering, it's being discussed. And I just thought that, you know, it's time that we clear some misconceptions around it and empower each and every one of you with the necessary knowledge so that you can become great, brighter, and more informed intermittent fasters who will be able to see benefits out of what they're doing, because that's ultimately what we want. Okay, coming back to your question, what is intermittent fasting? Before we move on with the webinar, I think it's important.
Would you like me to share the presentation as well? Please let me know as and when we can share the presentation with the viewers so that they can also kind of, while you're talking in the background.
Maybe you can show the first slide and then we can take it out and maybe bring it back again at the end of the
sure.
when I'm answering the question.
I shall do that. All right. Is everyone able to see the screen? Yeah, you can just send me a... Yeah, you're able to see it, right?
Okay.
Sure.
All right. We can take the screen off for now, Ashwini. Thank
sure.
you.
All right.
I just feel it's nicer when I see people rather than they see a screen. So intermittent fasting is basically an eating pattern in which your day is divided into two phases. One is the eating phase, and which is the fast, and one is the fasting phase. Very simply put, and it's common sense, eating phase is when you're eating. It's also called as the building phase because your body is building up to the fasting phase. And the fasting phase is when you are abstaining from any kind of food. What you are allowed in a typical intermittent fasting situation is water and herbal teas. Okay, so that's typically how your day will look like. Now, intermittent fasting is not something which is new. I know we've been hearing of it just in the past few years, but intermittent fasting or fasting as a concept has existed across centuries for years, for times immemorial. Okay, in our own culture, if you look at us as Indians, fasting has been a very integral part of our culture, our religion, our life. And ancient wisdom had long back proven the benefits of fasting. Okay, they already knew that fasting brought on tremendous benefits. It's just that, like with many other things, when millions of dollars were put into research by some university in the West, that when fasting became popular and the term intermittent fasting got coined. Okay, so it's really a fancier term for the regular fasting that has been practiced for many, many years across cultures around the world. It is perhaps the most oldest and the most powerful dietary and lifestyle intervention ever known to man. And thankfully, after having forgotten, man had forgotten this whole concept. And I think the feasting culture had come about a lot in our world. And thankfully, we're now coming back to it. And intermittent fasting has become something which is being practiced by a lot of people. Now, before I move on, I also want to clarify that intermittent fasting is not a diet, okay? It is a lifestyle. It's the way you will lead your life. If you're going to treat it like a diet, it's going to not show the effects that you want to see. You have to incorporate it in your life as a sustainable lifestyle. I'll tell you as we move along how you're going to do that, but it's important for us to recognize that if you're saying, I'm on intermittent fasting, it's not a diet, okay? It's a lifestyle. So these are the two important things that I wanted to tell you. Also, as you know, and I firmly believe in this, in anything in life that we do, life is about balance, okay? The good, the bad, the yin, the yang, feasting, fasting, everything comes together. So when this balance goes off and feasting becomes more than fasting, or fasting is more than feasting, that is when problems occur. So that balance is something which is very, very unique to every person. What is my balance need not be somebody else's balance. And if somebody else's balance is seemingly looking much nicer to you, does not mean that that is the best way to go. So that's one thing you have to remember, that you are unique as a person. Your individual situation, your lifestyle, everything is very unique to you. All right. So intermittent fasting is really the balance of a feasting and a fasting stage. So in short, that's what is intermittent fasting.
Excellent. I think that kind of pretty much summarizes us what exactly is intermittent fasting. And like you rightly said, it has always been there in our culture. It's just that we had to rely on the researchers to speak about it, to believe it, and to adopt it. So, I mean, how does intermittent fasting?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not only with this, even things like the golden latte, which has become so popular, is really haldi doodh. The ghee, which is now making a huge comeback, is really something which has been practiced in India for the longest time. And similarly, fasting has just become intermittent fasting, and it sounds so fancy now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, how does intermittent fasting really work in our body? So, what is the science behind it?
All right. So that is a really, really important question, because I always feel that in order to be good at something, it's good to know the science behind it. What is it that it's doing to your body? And we're all intelligent young ladies, and we want to know exactly what is happening to our body when we are in a state of fasting and when we are in a state of feasting. There are a lot of physiological changes that happen in our body in the intermittent fasting practice. So let's say that our hormones, our entire hormonal system is something which changes when food enters our body, okay? And the hormone that I'm going to be particularly talking about today is something called insulin. Can we just show the second slide briefly, Ashwini?
Sure. So, this one?
No, the second one. Sorry, the third one.
All right.
No, the one before this.
How does
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I just wanted you to see the slide. Is there any way you can still see me and see the slide, right?
Yeah, I think we should be able to see you just one window up there. And is everyone able to see the slide? If anyone is unable to see, please do send me a chat, and yeah, we can take it up there.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see Nidhi and the slide. Thanks.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we'll just leave the slide on for a while and then we can take it off. So
Sure.
what happens is that when we are eating food, insulin gets secreted in our blood. This insulin is a hormone which is responsible to make sure that the food energy is reaching our cells. Okay, so our cells needs energy to perform, and insulin is the hormone that's responsible for making sure that the food energy is reaching the cells and getting converted into energy which can be used by the body. Now what happens is that we are eating, all of us are eating way much more than we actually need to eat. Okay, so what happens to the excessive food or the excessive food energy that we are taking in? There are two things that are happening to this food energy, which is in excess. Number one is that it gets stored in the liver as glycogen. So a part of the excessive food energy gets stored in the liver as something called glycogen. Glucose gets converted into glycogen and gets stored in the liver. Now, the stores for glycogen, or the space that the liver has for this storage, is rather limited. So once this storage capacity gets filled, then the rest of the energy, which is in excess, gets converted into fat. And that gets then transported to different cells, to different organs, to our tissues, and gets stored over there. Okay, so that's really what is happening when excessive energy is going into our body. Now, there is this whole process of food energy being converted into fat is something called de novo lipogenesis, which really means making new fat. So there are two complementary storage situations happening in our body. One which is easily accessible and has limited capacity, which is the one in the liver, which is the glycogen, and the other fats, the other storage, which has unlimited capacity and it is very hard to access, is the fat which gets stored in our tissues and in our organs and cells over time. That is why the body has an unlimited capacity to store the fat. And that is why also it's so hard for us to break down this fat. Okay, so now you get what happens to the body when you're in an eating state and when you eat in excess. Now the reverse happens to the body in the fasting phase. So when you're fasting, initially your body is able to go on. Then when the body, and what happens to the insulin, it starts decreasing. So now instead of an increasing insulin, you have a decreasing insulin, which is again a very beneficial output of the fasting practice. This decreasing insulin is useful for us in many other ways. But what happens is when our body requires energy, then it taps into the storage systems, the two storage systems that we spoke of. It first taps into the glycogen stores in the liver, which gets broken down back into glucose and into our cells. And when we start or we are fasting for a longer period of time and we are going on fasting, then the body stores into our fat stores. And that's when the fat starts getting broken down. You may have heard of the term ketosis. That's when your body goes into ketosis. Now, it's not that easy. This takes a while, and this takes a long fasted state for our body to reach a stage of ketosis. So physiologically, this is what happens. Now, what happens is, since our body has an unlimited capacity to store the food energy, if we start eating the minute we roll out of bed and we keep on eating till the time we sleep, which typically happens in scenarios when we are socializing at night and eating late into the hours of night, perhaps drinking also, and we go home and we just go off to sleep. So what happens is our body is constantly in the fat storage mode, and that is when perhaps we put on weight and we run into other health issues. So physiologically, this is what happens to our body while we're doing intermittent fasting.
All right. I mean, I think I kind of had a couple of questions, but perhaps we'll wait for the question and answer session to come. Like, I think that's better, right? What do you suggest?
Yeah, that's better. We can either wait absolutely towards the end, Ashwini, or I can take questions maybe halfway point and then take the rest of the questions in the end. Whatever.
Let's take it halfway, so that
I'll tell you when the halfway point will come, and then we'll take it from there. So you can remove the slide now.
All right, sounds good. So I think now we have understood in terms of how exactly what is the science behind it. But like I
Yeah.
said, different people are practicing intermittent fasting in different ways. Because I myself follow something, and when I talk to my friend, she's following something else. But all of us are in a way doing intermittent fasting. Can you shed some light on what are the different kinds of intermittent fasting styles? So what are the various ways in which one can do it?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's the beauty about intermittent fasting, because there are just so many different ways in which you can do it. I think the most common and the popular ones are the 16 to 8. I don't know from where that magic figure has evolved, but there are various ways of doing it. But before I go on, Ashwini, how do you practice intermittent fasting?
Take minute. So basically, in my case, what I do is I kind of try and eat before 7:30, and
Okay.
post that I wait until I feel hungry in the morning, which is around 10:30 approximately. So I do that, but there are times when I do feel hungry earlier as well. So that's when I get a little confused, and but then I do try and listen to my body and I eat. But when I eat, I perhaps eat a small banana or a fruit or something, just to wait and see if I can kind of hold on for a longer time. So that's what I do. And I think that has kind of helped me in the long run. It has.
Okay. Okay. So you're also doing the most common and the most popular way of fasting, and I guess this is very convenient and a great place to start with. Okay, guys, so let's just run through the different fasting styles. Number one is the most popular style, which is being followed by a lot of people. And the good part about this is that it takes care of your overnight fast, which you naturally get when you're sleeping. Okay, because when you're sleeping for say 7 to 8 hours, that gets taken care of. Add on an hour or two before and add on an hour or two after, and you can get at least 10 to 12 hours of fasting. So which is really really good. That's a really really good place to be in. So to begin with, for beginners and even for others, it just depends on your body, a 12:12 window is a perfectly good way to start your intermittent fasting, which means 12 hours of eating and 12 hours of fasting. Now, as you got to listen to your body, and as you progress into intermittent fasting, you can increase this window from 12 to 13 to 14 to 15 to 16 to 18. So commonly what is known as 16 to 8 or 14 to 10 or whatever else, these kind of fasting windows you can extend slowly as you move along. Now, what I want to say is at this point that do not put yourself in a box because of what you've read on Google, what should be done, or because what your friend is doing and probably has seen result or hasn't seen results. We really don't know. Because that friend, if she's able to do X numbers of hours of fasting, or if on Google you hear some program about somebody doing some amount of fasting, please do not think that that is something which is ideal and let me also start doing it. And if I'm not able to do it, means there must be something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. There is nothing magical about those boxes of 16:8 or 14 or 18 or anything else. So everything is good as long as it's good for you. Please do not follow any trend that you're reading randomly anywhere. That's number one thing. Okay. So that's the first way of doing intermittent fasting. After that, let me tell you a few other styles which are being followed by people. And what happens is, as you become more and more comfortable in your practice, you start pushing yourself. As even though I say that do as much as is comfortable for you, at that point, I would also like to say that it's also good to stretch your body a little bit at a time. Your body is really capable of much more than you think it's capable of. Your body is elastic. We're not rigid. We can stretch ourselves. But let's do it slowly, mindfully, and with a certain intention of doing something which is going to benefit us. If we feel that it's not working for us, just stop it at that time. But it's good to stretch your body a little bit more day after day or month after month as you move into the practice. Okay, the second method of practicing intermittent fasting is something called 5:2 method, okay, where 5 days of the week you can lead a regular life, do whatever you want, eat the way you like, and 2 days in the week you are going to be fasting. Either it can be a complete fast, or you can eat 5 to 600 calories, like very small meals through the day. So that's your 5:2 method. Then you have a method called eat, stop, eat, which is very similar to 5:2, but you take any 1 or 2 non-consecutive days of the week, okay, and you decide that those are going to be your fasting days, and you completely fast on those 2 days, and the rest of the days you can do whatever normal that you do. Then you have something called alternate day fasting, where you completely fast one day and you eat the other day. Now, people have made a modification to this also, that every alternate day you can have 5 to 600 calories, and every other day you can lead a very normal life. Okay, so that's another style of intermittent fasting. Then you have something called the warrior diet, which is like really strong warrior, 20 hours of fasting and 4 hours of eating. So 20 hours, nothing to eat, and 4 hours, you can eat whatever you want. So those are the different methods of fasting. Now, what I would say is, as you begin with something as simple as 12-12, I think that your body is already in the fasted state. So anything more that you do after that, or even if you stop at that, that's also fine if it's working for you. And slowly you can start experimenting and stretching your body and trying different kinds of things and seeing how it works for you. But on the whole, these are the fasting styles that are being practiced by different people all over the world.
Okay. So I think that is very different from what I have really heard till date, because I think when people talk about intermittent fasting, they only talk about hours. But I think today you have thrown some light about different ways, like alternate day we can do, or maybe we can eat 5 days and 2 days of fasting. That sounds very promising, to be honest, because otherwise, when people talk about fasting, they talk about don't eat generally. But I think you've given us some idea about where you can also begin with 5 days eating and 2 days fasting. But that brings me to a question about whether body would get confused or not. But I think I'll hold on to that thought of mine, and I think when we have a question and answer, we can address that. So now that we know what are the different types of intermittent fasting and how it works, can you tell us what are the benefits? I mean, how exactly, now we understood the science, but what are the benefits of fasting? How does it
Okay,
benefit our body?
when I was asking this question to some of the participants here before you came as to what they were expecting from this workshop, everybody wanted to know what are the benefits, instead of blindly, because the whole world is doing intermittent fasting, so let me also start. What are the benefits? Now, what I've done for you, interestingly, is I have divided the benefits into practical benefits and scientifically based benefits. Okay, so intermittent fasting has some very practical benefits to it, which no other kind of lifestyle intervention has. And then, of course, there are those, evidence based, because a lot of money is going into researching as to how the body is getting benefited when we are fasting, which is good. It's always good to have scientific research and data backed research to prove that there are certain things that do work in a certain way, because because there's the changes that are happening in the body. Let's talk about the practical benefits before we move on to the
Should I
evidence based.
share the screen? I think you have a very nice slide on that, if I'm not wrong. So, practical benefits, right? This is the one.
Yeah.
Can I say something, Ashwini, if you don't mind?
Sure.
I think we should give the speaker a chance to speak and keep the questions to the end, because every time when we interrupt, no, the flow of the speaker and the thought process, what she has thought of giving the talk, gets cut.
No, I think, all right,
So,
we do take your feedback, but we have kind of made it a little
yeah.
interactive, because otherwise what happens is we've realized that when one speaker is speaking for a longest time, sometimes it gets really kind of boring and people tend to lose attention. So we've actually made this a little interactive. So I hope
I just feel the speaker loses the, flow of her thoughts of giving the talk. That's my opinion. But I think
agree.
the speaker can take the call.
Sure. Nidhi
Yeah,
ji,
sure.
whatever is yours.
I don't know who this question was from. I mean, yeah, you have a point there. You definitely have a point there. Since we've done a lot of webinars in the past, we just felt that, if we have a question answer style. So what we'll do, Ashwini, just ask me the question and I'll go on with the explanation. Whatever question you have pertaining to the slides which you have in front of you.
Sure.
And as soon as we do the benefits, we'll do a little short break of about 5 to 10 minutes of questions and then move on with the rest of the webinar. Okay?
Sure.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Whoever asked that question, is that fine? All right. So the practical benefits of intermittent fasting. Number one, it is extremely simple. There's nothing to it. So compared to any other kind of practice that you'd be doing where there'll be like some, buy this, do this, whatever. This is nothing. It is absolutely simple. When you're fasting, you're doing nothing. You're just having water, you're having herbal teas, and that's about it. So it's as simple as that. It's very cheap, so it's very good on your pocket. There is absolutely no need for you to go out and buy anything in order to do an intermittent fast. So there are no supplements, there's no special kind of food, there's no special kind of diet that you're going to be on. It's it's the cheapest way to improve your health. It's also extremely convenient. So as they say, there are certain things which are time consuming, they make your life more complicated. This actually simplifies your life. It actually saves time, because when you're fasting, you have that much time to do something else because you're not spending time on eating or cooking. So it is a very, very convenient way of living, very convenient intervention that you can follow, which will not disrupt your life. In fact, it may make it simpler and easier. Somebody also spoke earlier about cheat days. Yes, we all lead a life which has different demands on us. So things do change, days do change, festivals come, things happen. This particular style of living is very easy and gives way to cheat days in a very, very easy way. So the days you're cheating, that's it. You just don't fast. And you just carry on with whatever, if you're gone for a late evening out, that's fine. You can come back. You can start from the next day or perhaps even the next day. That's completely fine. You can drop it and pick it up, and your cheat days are as simple as that. Number 5, it has a power setting. So this particular kind of practice has a power setting. What do I mean by that? You can increase the power, you can decrease the power. You can start with a 10-hour fast, you can end up with a 3-day fast. So you can enhance your power settings, you can dial it down also. Now, this kind of a facility is not available with most other things that we do, right? So changing the power setting and having an unlimited power setting is one of the big practical benefits of intermittent fasting. I could be doing a 10-hour fast, I'm still doing intermittent fasting. Somebody is doing a 5:2 kind of approach, they're still doing intermittent fasting. Somebody is doing an alternate day kind of fast, that's also intermittent fasting. So the power can be up or down. Number 6, it's very flexible. So as somebody said, or perhaps Ashwini said, sometimes she gets up and she feels that she's hungry. Our body is very complex. It's not all black and white. So every day may not look the same. There may be certain other factors which are playing on your mind and which are making you hungry. And this kind of a lifestyle intervention allows you to have that flexibility. So if you're not fasting for 10 hours, you can do it for 12 hours, you can do it for 8 hours. It's completely up to you. So it's got an extremely flexible angle to it. And the last, which I would say is not the least, but the most important, you can add it to any diet. You could be a vegan, you could be a vegetarian, you could be keto, you could be paleo, you could be gluten-free, you could be lactose-free, dairy-free, whatever free, you can add on intermittent fasting. Okay, so these are the practical benefits, which to me are really, really important, because if anything has to succeed, it should have a lot of practical benefits attached to it. Ashwini, can we have the next slide, please?
Sure. Yeah.
So intermittent fasting can be done by anyone and everyone. If you don't eat meat, you can still fast. If you don't eat wheat, you can still fast. You're nut allergic, you can still fast. You don't have time, you can still fast. In fact, it'll make your life easier. You don't have money, you can still fast. You're traveling all the time, you can still fast. You don't cook, you can still fast. You're 80-year-old, you can still fast. So while most diets may complicate life, intermittent fasting can simplify it. While most diets can take time, intermittent fasting saves time. While diets may be limited in their availability, fasting is available anywhere and everywhere. And that summarizes the practical benefits of intermittent fasting, right? And now we can move on to the more science-based and evidence-based benefits of intermittent fasting. You can remove the slides. I think I'll just speak now, Ashwini.
Sure. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So I hope you guys kind of were surprised to see how, the different practical benefits that are of following this diet. Now, intermittent fasting, according to science and research, has shown that it has very, very beneficial effects on our hormones, on our cells, and on our gene expressions. And a combination of this is why intermittent fasting is showing the beautiful results that it's showing in people all over the world. There are people who have magically changed the way they feel. They've had therapeutic benefits, they've reversed their health conditions, they've lost weight. And the whole basis of that is the effect that this fasting has on our hormones, on our gene expressions, and on our cells. Now, I briefly spoke to you about insulin. Insulin is a very important hormone in our body. So insulin majorly changes when we are fasting. And because insulin levels are lower when you're fasting, your fat breakdown is more. Also, there's another hormone called the growth hormone. Growth hormone is known to increase 5-fold when you're fasting, and this has been scientifically proven. And the growth hormone is something which is known to cause loss of fat, breakdown of fat, and building of muscles. So a combination of these two is where you can see a lot of magic of intermittent fasting. Then on a cellular level, what happens? Now, what happens is when you're not eating, all the energy that your body is devoting for your digestive system, because the digestive system shuts down. So that energy can be diverted to several other metabolic processes in our body. For example, cleaning up of old cells, okay, all the waste material in the cells, the detoxification processes, which our body will never be able to do if it's busy digesting food, because the first job of a body is to digest our food. But if there is nothing to digest and we are in a resting phase, our body is able to perform the detoxification process, which is again extremely important. Because see, in a house, if you have dirt accumulated all the time and you don't clean it and you're going on and on adding new things, what's going to happen? It's going to be a mess, right? So similarly in our body, if you go on adding food and you're not removing all the waste products that are being accumulated over a period of time and the toxins that are being built up in your body, you're going to be in a mess also. So you need to allow your body to do that. You need to allow your body to heal, to repair, to recover, to rest. And that's what happens when you are doing intermittent fasting. Lastly, change in your gene expressions. There's a huge new science that's coming up, which is called nutrigenomics, which means that it's in our hands. It's totally in our capacity to turn on our good genes and turn off our bad genes. Okay, we all have genes of different kinds, but which is the one that is expressing and which is the one which is not expressing depends on us. So intermittent fasting has this beautiful way of how it regulates our gene expressions, and that's why it helps to prevent a lot of chronic diseases, and it also increases our lifespan. So that's one huge benefit of intermittent fasting. Then comes the next benefit, which most people do intermittent fasting for, and that is weight loss and loss of belly fat. It's definitely there. But at this point, I want to tell you, if you do intermittent fasting with the final aim of weight loss, you are not going to see the results. If you do intermittent fasting with the final aim of good health and a sustainable, safe lifestyle change, which will benefit your body in every other way, lower your inflammation, keep your hormones in check, enhance your immune system, you'll be very, very happy to note that as a pleasant side effect of that, you will 100% lose weight. Right? But if you do it the other way around, it's not going to happen. Okay, so how does weight loss happen? Again, there's a science to it. Firstly, our hormones. So our insulin levels are falling down, because of which we are ultimately breaking down fat rather than making fat, which I already shared right away, in the beginning, what insulin does. So because of the breaking down of fat that's happening, not only because of insulin, but because of your growth hormones, there's another hormone called norepinephrine. We won't go into all those scientific names. It's enough for you to know that there are a lot of hormonal changes happening, which ensure that you break down fat. That's one part due to which we will lose weight, okay? If we consistently keep doing intermittent fasting. The other way is very simple. The number of calories that you're going to be eating, since your eating window is shorter than your shorter than your fasting window, your calories that are going in will be lesser. Unless and until you are more than making up and overeating in your eating window. If I'm assuming you don't do that, then your net calories will be low. So your calories go down and your hormones are in check. So ultimately you will lose belly fat. It's as simple as that. Okay. Now, even the third benefit, our risk of developing diabetes type 2 and getting something called insulin resistance. So insulin resistance happens before we get into a diabetic stage. So that whole phenomena also gets reduced with fasting. It's known to have huge positive benefits for diabetes and insulin resistance. Then another very, very important thing, you all must have heard of inflammation. Now, inflammation is what causes havoc in our body. Obesity is just one of the outcomes of inflammation, but all your chronic diseases, your cardiovascular diseases, diseases of your brain like Alzheimer's and dementia and Parkinson's and whatever else, and diabetes and all your autoimmune diseases, they're all due to inflammation. And fasting reduces inflammation in your body. In fact, that is the reason why you see all the benefits of intermittent fasting. It also reduces something called oxidative stress. You've heard of free radicals and antioxidants. Antioxidants are getting very popular in today's world. So what happens with intermittent fasting, the oxidative stress in your body reduces. And that's why people say intermittent fasting is anti-aging. It's naturally anti-aging because you have less stress in your body, you have lower free radicals, and you look younger and, happier. So that is again a very, very hugely positive outcome of intermittent fasting. Besides that, it's very good for your heart health, for your cardiovascular system. So your markers like triglycerides, cholesterol, blood pressure, inflammation markers all go down with intermittent fasting. Another extremely important benefit of intermittent fasting is something called autophagy. Have you heard of this? I know that you're not able to answer me right now, but I'm sure you've heard of this term called autophagy. Autophagy is basically, it's two words, auto and phagy. So auto means self, phagy means eat. So eating your cells yourself. So when you are in the fasted state, your cells, your old dysfunctional cells get broken down, And that gives way to newer, healthier cells. That's what's called autophagy. And because of this process of autophagy, and that does not happen with just short-term fasting, it has to be a long-term fasting for you to reach the stage of autophagy. And that also is beneficial in even diseases like cancer, because it kills the bad cells and it gives way to newer, healthier cells. And that's why even diseases of the brain and various other chronic diseases get taken care of. So that's another thing that's a hugely positive benefit of intermittent fasting. And last but not the least, it's got a huge benefit for our brain health. So something called neurons, which are in our brain, they are benefiting when we are fasting. It helps for the growth of new neurons, and all our neurodegenerative diseases as we grow older get taken care of, and we have a much healthier brain if we are fasting. So basically, after talking about all these benefits, I think what I want to tell you is that for sure there are a lot of beautiful side effects that happen when our body is made to fast on a regular basis. Right? I hope that answers your question, Ashwini.
Yeah, that's fine. So would you like to kind of, shall we just take some questions, Nidhi ji?
Yes, I think let's at this point, I can see a lot of questions coming up in the chat windows. So let's kind of take a 10-minute break for question answers, and then we'll move on to the next part.
All right. So one question is asked. I heard that we are not supposed to eat carbs, but my nutritionist says I can eat 2 to 3 chapatis a day.
From where did you hear that you're not supposed to eat carbs? That's I'm more curious about that. What is the source of that information? I think carbs are just beaten unnecessarily. We all need carbs.
Yes.
Because carbs give us glucose. Glucose is the preferred source of energy. What happens is when we are greedy and we eat too much of them and we eat the wrong kind, we cannot get rid of carbs, and we have to have them.
Absolutely. So I think this is something we can have it during the eating time, what you have been telling us, right? Okay. I've been intermittent fasting for a year now, but my fasting period varies from 14 hours on some days to 20 hours on other days. Is it important to maintain the same fasting period all the days?
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to be touching on this particular question a little bit later on in the webinar. But having said that, no, I would say yes and no, and I'll tell you why. It's totally okay. Like if you get up in the morning and you feel that you're hungry or you're feeling weak and low and you feel like eating and you break the fast earlier, it's completely all right. It's because, as I said earlier also, earlier on in the presentation today, that our bodies do change time to time. We're not the same every day. We don't feel the same every day. Our stress levels are different every day. Our pressures are different every day. Our body keeps changing. So you got to listen to it. And if your body is telling you that you need to eat earlier, please go ahead and eat earlier. That's fine. Please do not starve yourself. In fact, that's when the trouble happens. With women, what happens is our bodies are extremely sensitive to stress. As it is when you are in a fasted state, which is longer than your normal, your body is in some sort of a stress. On top of that, if you're stretching it even further and you're dying of hunger, you're actually not doing any benefit, actually quite the reverse, because your hunger hormones are then going to peak. And what will happen is you may indulge in, binge eating when you can, and then you'll feel guilty. That again, you will probably undereat, then again overeat, and you'll just go into a cycle, which is not going to prove of any use to your body. So if you want to eat earlier, please go ahead and eat earlier.
Excellent. I think I think to hear that your body changes every day and it's not the same is an amazing thing that at least I have heard, because till date we've only heard saying that you need to follow the pattern, you need to stick to the time, and I think that also answers another question what we had here. Won't the body get confused? But I think you answered it beautifully, wherein saying that our stress levels are different every day, our energy levels are different every day. So listen to your body. Excellent. Okay, won't we lose energy when insulin is not released? For example, when we are in a fasting state, right? Does it mean that the supply of the glucose is cut off, or it's not?
So when we're in a fasted state, yes, your glucose will fall. It
Yeah.
will fall, but it will never fall to a level which will make you faint, because your body has the capacity of turning on the storage, those two storage containers that we have.
Right.
One is glycogen in the liver, which is a limited storage, but very accessible. Immediately your glycogen will get converted into glucose and it will be supplied to your cells. So you will not feel like you're going into low sugar.
Sure.
And then you go into tapping the fat stores after that.
Right.
Your fat will start getting converted into food energy, which is going to supply your cells. So your body is going to try its utmost to prevent itself.
Okay. All right. All right. So are smoothies allowed during the fasting time frame?
No, absolutely not.
Not allowed. Okay. So what can we eat during eating window? Can we eat carbs?
Yes, you can eat carbs. And I'm going to touch on that, because I'm going to cover how we're going to manage the fast and do it well. So I'm going to cover that later, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So I'll answer it later. Yeah.
Sure. Is fasting good for a 12-year-old or young growing children rather?
No, not till 16. I wouldn't advise it.
Okay. Does the time frame have to be consistent, or do the number of hours have to be consistent? I think that has already been answered. And autophagy, which earned a Nobel Prize, became the reason for intermittent fasting getting popular worldwide. I don't think it's a question, but I think it's just a reference point.
Yes, autophagy is a very, very, and I think it mainly is very, very helpful in different kind of cancers, because it kills off our bad cells.
Okay. Does extended fast 20 hours and above, which we put in ketosis state, put your body under low energy? Can you do vigorous exercise while fasting?
No, you cannot. Again, you listen to your body. If you're feeling energetic that day, because fasting also, it's kind of strange, like it just depends on the day, it depends on the person. Fasting also increases your energy levels. You, instead of feeling lethargic, you feel more active. But having said that, you are in a fasted state and you must recognize that, especially as women. Okay, we are very different from men. So don't think if my husband is going and lifting weights, I should also be doing that. They are very different. Intermittent fasting works very differently for men. And unfortunately, it shows extremely quick results in men and very good results. In women, there is an issue. It's more because of the way it impacts our hormones. So exercise according to your capacity, but I would say do exercises like walking or yoga or Pilates, or maybe a light swim, nothing more strenuous than that.
All right. Is it necessary? I will just take two more questions and I think we will move on to the presentation. Is it necessary to exercise daily during the fasting? Is half an hour exercise time good?
It is very, very necessary to exercise as often as you can in the week. If you can do it every day, it's wonderful. But if not, 6 days, 5 days, definitely you should be exercising. Half an hour is very good. It's a very good starting point for sure. And then you can always build it up from there. More than exercise, of course, exercise is important, but you can't be in a gym for 1 hour in the day and then be sitting for the rest of the hours. So movement is also important.
Excellent. Okay. Can you explain how much calories need for average woman? You said keep your calories within 500 to 600 calories per day.
Again, that all depends on various factors. I cannot answer a blanket question. It all depends on your BMI, your height, your weight, your requirements. And anyways, honestly, if any of you were to come to me for a consultation, I don't believe in counting calories. Honestly, yeah. I mean, in a fasting stage, we would count, but again, calories coming from what? Calories coming from a bag of potato chips is not the same as calories coming from vegetables or an apple or some fruit. You can't count calories. That concept is dated. It used to be there when I studied nutrition 30 years ago. It was all about calories, constantly counting the number of calories and basing your diets on that. Today, when I practice my nutrition, I do not count calories at all. Even for me personally, I've never counted calories. If you're listening to your body and eating the right thing, you don't need to count calories.
Absolutely. I so strongly believe in that. All right, Nidhi, I think let's move on with our next slide. So now that
Can I ask a question which is related to the previous slide?
sure.
Nidhi, suppose if you are out and you have eaten your dinner, say by 9:30. So next day morning, if I have anything I put in my mouth by 9:30, is that okay? Like I maintain a 12-hour fasting every day. But suppose once in a week this happens. So it is okay if you pick up your strings from there only. Like one day, suppose today night I'm going out. I eat at 9:30. Tomorrow I start my day by eating at 9:30.
That's
Then the
12
following, yeah, then the following day, again I stick to my 7:30. Like I finish dinner by 8, and then next day I put something in my mouth not before 8:30. This is my regular practice. But someday if the timing goes haywire once a week or twice a week, is that okay as long as you fast for 12 hours?
That's exactly what I said. Intermittent fasting is very flexible. Once or twice a week, you can. I mean, you in your normal life, once or twice a week, if you are going off your intermittent fasting schedule, it's completely fine. What is not fine is 5 days you're off and 2 days you're following. That's not fine. So if once in a while something is going wrong, it's on, I won't even say it's wrong. It's okay. You're out and you're enjoying with friends, which is also very important. And you have a slightly later meal and you get up and maybe, you're not feeling yourself and you want to eat something, that's completely fine. But if that becomes a practice and you are going into that sort of a rhythm 5 days a week or 4 days a week, then that's no point.
I was saying of the timing going haywire.
It's fine.
Not of the 12 hours. Like 12 hours I do follow, but the timing sometimes goes haywire. Like 9, today I have my dinner, then next day morning 9 only I will have something. Others, or some other day I finish my dinner by 7:30. So next day by 8 or 7:30 I have something.
So basically, you're fasting for 12 hours, right?
Yeah, I've kept a regime for 12 hours, but is the timing which goes haywire sometimes, is that okay? The 12 hours is maintained.
Sometimes,
The 12 hours,
yeah.
even if the time 12 hours is maintained, only the timing goes haywire sometimes. Like suppose today 7:30 I finish, next day morning 7:30 I have. The following day it gets 9:30. So next day 9:30 I have.
Okay.
So basically,
to that I would say 12 hours is fine if that's what your body is happy with. But if you can finish your dinner by 7:30, 5 days a week, and your timing is going haywire for the next 2 days, it's fine. But if your timing is going haywire for 5 days of the week, then it's not fine.
Okay. So timings go haywire, but not the 12 hours. 12 hours, I stick to the 12 hours fasting.
That's fine. That's totally fine.
So timings going haywire is okay, or what?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, as long as you're keeping your 12 hours, it's
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thanks.
All right. Okay, I think anybody else would like to ask any questions? Or
any questions on the slides that have already been done? Like any question on the methods of fasting or the benefits of fasting? Any doubts, any questions?
Nidhi, I had a question. This was related to the insulin resistance that you spoke about. Is the weight not going down anything to do with my sweet cravings, because I have sweet cravings, and of course I'm trying to kind of really minimize it, but I don't see much of a change in my weight, though I feel I've gone in inches because I exercise every day. But do you think I should even go in for my insulin resistant test, which might help me to know why is the weight not going down that easily?
Rupam, you know what? Your question I'll be more able to answer if I'm, speaking to you on a one-on-one basis. But there's something that I'd like to say here about weight loss, and just purely weight loss. It's dependent on many, many things, and insulin resistance can be one of them for sure. Your sweet cravings, if they're coming, is a lot to do with the condition of your gut. So it needs healing from there. Now, there's one thing that I want to tell here, guys, which I think is really important for all of you to listen. Intermittent fasting alone cannot give you results. It's not a magic pill. So stop treating it like I'm intermittent fasting and then I can do whatever else I feel like. Intermittent fasting, good lifestyle, which includes your good sleep, stress-free life, good eating habits, and good gut health. All these together is what is going to give you, the results that you're looking for, whether it is weight loss, whether it is cravings, whether it is some other digestive issues, whatever issues that you have. Intermittent fasting, just practice on its own, cannot work. Unfortunately, health has a lot of pillars. So you cannot just focus on one pillar and ignore all the others. It all has to go together. Right. And number one, it has to go together. Number two, it has to go consistently with discipline. If you do it once in a while, nothing's going to work. And also coming back to what you said about exercising every day. Yes, you're absolutely, I am all for exercise. I firmly believe in it and the benefits of exercise and everything else. But if you want to see results in terms of your weight loss or cravings or whatever else, 80%, or I would say 90%, is to do with changes in your diet and lifestyle, not with your exercise. That's not going to, there people think that if they exercise more and eat less, they're going to see results. You will not see results. You have to fix the way you eat and fix the way you live. And of course, exercise is one component of it, but it's about 20 to 30%. Rest of it is all your diet and exercise.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Roma, we can't hear you. I think she's trying to speak. Roma's trying to speak.
Roma, you're muted. Unmute yourself.
Roma.
Yeah, okay. So Nidhi, what I wanted to ask you was, I subscribe to a 16-hour. My only issue in this is that I'm very fond of my fruits. Initially, I would do those 5 fruits for breakfast, and they worked beautifully for me. I'm missing out on my fruits. So what I've started doing now, because I go straight for lunch after 16 hours. After my tea and my walk, I do my fruits at about 6 o'clock in the evening. Is that fine?
How many fruits are you having?
No, then I just stick with 2 fruits. Either I have pomegranate with a pear or whatever. But I feel otherwise with these 16 hours, my fruits are getting out of my whole scheme of things.
What I would suggest, Roma, in that case, yeah. I'm not a huge fan of eating fruit in the evening. I think it has a lot of bioactive elements. It's got a lot of enzymes which are best utilized on an empty stomach, or
when do I fit it in?
Or as a mid-afternoon snack. So what I would do with something like that is, when you break your fast, you please have some fruit at that point.
Then have lunch.
When you give your body, even if you give a 25-30 minute gap, it's fine. And then you have your lunch.
Okay. Okay.
It's
so move the fruit angle.
And in the evening, if you're hungry, you can definitely eat some other kind of snack, but not fruit.
Okay. That's the question. And another quick one, because I'm sure there are a lot of people wanting to ask questions. Because I do my yoga very early at 7:30 in the morning, We're not supposed to do it on an empty stomach. So I do my IF, but I have just those 5 almonds and those 4 walnuts soaked in water.
You're
Now,
breaking.
obviously, it's breaking the IF. Yeah, that's
You're
what's
breaking the
bothering me.
Yeah.
So
You're
then how
breaking
do
the
I
fast.
do that? Because I can't do yoga on an empty stomach.
Okay, so yoga typically actually is best done on an empty stomach.
I know, but our guy with the younger yoga doesn't promote that.
Okay, that's to me.
Maybe I can clarify it further with him.
Tell me one thing. How do you feel if you don't have those nuts and you do
No,
yoga?
I feel very good. I don't
Then
need
just
them.
don't have it.
Yeah.
Just don't have it.
Yeah, exactly. And don't tell him either.
Don't tell him.
Okay, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, don't fall into these brackets and boxes and ways of thinking. Just don't.
Correct.
Don't listen.
Just stick with the IF and stick to that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
thanks. I'm going to try that.
In fact, what you can happily do at that point is have some herbal teas.
Yeah, which is no harm.
Which is no harm. You're not breaking your fast.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, 2 points conceded. Thanks.
So quick question here, Nidhi. Taking off from Roma. So that's what I do. I miss my smoothie. So I miss that opening for the smoothie.
Then open it with a smoothie.
But then I don't
Yes.
feel hungry for lunch.
Yeah.
So you see, because the smoothie has a little bit of, like oats in it with some fruits. So it's quite filling. So the result is that I tried that. So then it became like I have my smoothie, then I don't have lunch till 4. Then I can't have dinner at 7. So it becomes a vicious circle, which is why
you definitely want
Yeah.
to have your smoothie.
Sorry?
You definitely want to have your smoothie.
Well, 3 days if I don't have it, I'm fine, but then I miss it.
But yeah, so if you really want something, I think it's not advisable to totally give it up. I would say you have your smoothie, have a smaller quantity of it.
Okay.
Just reduce everything by 50%.
Okay, so make that and then have the lunch at the regular time.
Yeah.
Okay, and the other thing is that in the morning I have my coffee normally. So if you add a little bit of the ghee in the coffee, it's okay? Or that's also breaking the fast?
It's breaking the fast. You're feeding your body fat when you should not be doing that. And even though there are certain Western philosophies which are advocates of, they say, because you know how Westerners are, Americans, they cannot do without their coffee. So they made that space for coffee. Now, my take to that is, Mithali, if it's working for you, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, your body is very acidic, okay, at night. So if you're putting something as acidic as coffee on top of that, it's not the best way to do it. But if that's something which keeps you going, then you do it. Because I'd rather let you do it than you falling off the back.
Yeah.
I can try with herbal tea and see. I haven't really tried it except for those 3 days, which I did once. And I didn't really feel anything negative while doing the herbal tea. So I can give it a shot and see. It's a question of just getting used to a different piece.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
You know what? It's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. And our body is capable of way more than we think it is.
Correct. So I can definitely try it. I was never a coffee drinker, became a coffee drinker. So I can definitely try it and see the end result.
Try it and see. That's the best thing. Tune into your body and your body will tell you itself.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, I think let's move on, and we will take the questions at the end of the presentation. Yeah, so I think now that we have spoken a lot, what is the next one? So what is the best way to do the intermittent fasting so that we can get the most of this practice without harming our...
Okay, so here we have the best for the last. How do we best do? Can we just mute everybody now, Ashwini, please?
Yeah. Okay.
So what is the best way of doing it? I know you had a lot of questions.
One second, hold on. I think you got muted, Nidhi. 1 second. Let me just unmute you. Or you can unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So the best way of doing intermittent fasting is, I'm going to tell you a huge secret here, which you may be doing. Okay, I'll tell you about myself. So when, like yourself, I've also been like, okay, fine, intermittent fasting. But let me be very honest to you, I was doing it mindlessly. Okay, there's a very big difference when you do something mindlessly versus when you do something mindfully. We all eat, but most of the time we are eating mindlessly. How do I say that? Because you're eating, but your mind is either on a TV show that you're watching, or the meeting that you have to rush off to, or a friend whose call has to come, or whatever else, so many other things that are happening. You're just eating, but your mind and everything else is somewhere else. So you're still eating. So I was intermittent fasting, but I never really put my energies wholly and solely into it. So for the last, one huge benefit that came out of my deciding to have this webinar is that I started mindfully practicing intermittent fasting. And I'll tell you how the magic happens. So when you are fasting, doing intermittent fasting, which is in rhythm with your body, okay, that's when you will get the maximum benefit. So what do I mean by that? Our body has an inbuilt clock, okay? And my clock is not the same as anybody else's clock, okay? We are all very, very individual. We're very, very different people. But what this clock does for all of us is it controls everything that's happening in our body. So our sleep-wake cycles, our eating cycles, our hormonal cycle, how women get periods and stuff like that. That's just one example. Everything in our body is happening, controlled by this big mechanical clock in our body. Okay, are you with me so far? So our body is controlling everything that's happening with it, because there are actually hormones which are secreted, like melatonin is secreted at night because it's meant to put you to sleep. Then cortisol is secreted in the morning because it's meant to wake you up and for you to start the day. Okay, so your body's taken care of this. Now, another beautiful thing is that the rhythm of our body, or our body clock, is aligned to nature. It's not misaligned with nature. Okay, so our body clock is aligned to the natural clock created by God and the sun cycles, which is called circadian cycles. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. So when you combine intermittent fasting with the circadian rhythm of your body and that of the nature, that is when the magic of intermittent fasting happens. And I would like to call it circadian fasting. All right, so that's what you need to do. So how do you perform circadian fasting? Number one, the most important thing, which many of you are doing, is just that when you're not mindful about it, you can slip out of it, or you're just kind of, okay, fine, going with the flow. But if you want to be a good intermittent faster, then at least 5 days a week, I'm giving you the concession of 2 days, at least 5 days a week, you have to finish your dinner around sunset. So sunset is about, say, 6:30. You don't have to eat at 6:30, but you can. So 6:30, 7, maximum 7:30, you're going to finish off your dinner, because your body actually is not able to digest food after a certain period of time. As the sun sets down, our digestive fire, which is called Agni, in Ayurveda, has gone down and it's not able to digest the food. Okay, so anything that you're eating after that is going to be converted into stores of glycogen or stores of fat. So your dinner should be a very light meal, and it should be at about 7:30. I know that this goes against all our social principles, but this is the only way to succeed. So if you want to get benefit out of it, this is how you will have to be. So what else are you supposed to do? Firstly, you have your dinner at this point, okay? After that, you're going into your fast. So it's water and or herbal teas or whatever else. Then you will break your fast the next morning with fruit, ideally with fruit. Okay. You must break your fast with fruit because fruits are, apart from, of course, the fiber and the vitamins and the minerals, they're very enzyme rich and they have a lot of benefits in our body. Okay. So you break your fast with fruit, follow it with a good breakfast, follow it with an even better lunch because your digestive fires are peaking at lunchtime. So your lunch should be the main meal of your day. And if you are a dessert person, like I am for sure, and I know everybody else is, and that's totally fine. Everybody has, we have a sweet, what should I say, receptor in our tongue, and we need sweet things. Have it at lunchtime. Okay, have your dessert at that time, preferably rather than dinner. And then you have a light dinner. So that's how your day should look like most of the week. You can go off this path for twice a week, but no more than that. Now, coming back to what you should eat. The trouble happens when you are doing intermittent fasting and putting your body under some sort of stress for sure, because you are trying to increase that fasting period. Then on top of that, you're going on a deprivation diet. Oh, I'm not going to have carbs. I'm not going to eat this. I'm going to have a very low calorie diet. You know, that's when you will not find any result from intermittent fasting. In fact, you may just invite some health problems. Because as women, our hormones will go completely haywire. Our thyroid hormones, our hunger hormones, so many other issues will happen in our body. Cortisol, which is the hormone that's secreted when our body is under stress, will peak, and that also will lead to more fat storage. So what kind of meal should you eat when you are in that eating window? You're going to balance out all your macros. By macros, I mean your carbohydrates, your proteins, and your fat. But what kind? So that's what I said. Intermittent fasting is just not some sort of a magic pill that I'm going to, okay, now I'm doing intermittent fasting. Now I have the license to lead my life whichever way I feel like. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. So you're going to have your good fat still. You're still going to have your good protein. You're still going to have very good quality carbohydrates. There are, extremely good sources of carbohydrates that you can have, but you have to have carbohydrates. And then, of course, you're going to have tons and tons of fiber. And guys, keep your diet as far as possible plant-based, because that's where you're going to get all your fiber, your gut health, everything will be taken care of. Keep yourself well hydrated. So in the eating window, this is what you should be doing. And end your day with a good dinner, but not a very heavy dinner. All right. Again, portion control. So doesn't mean that in your eating window, you can eat as much as possible. Be mindful of what you're eating. Of course, eat till you are hungry, but don't eat till when you're full and then you're stuffing food on top of that. You don't have to do that. So that's another thing. Then exercise regularly. Now that's another thing which you must do. When you get up in the morning and you're still in your fasted state, like some of you just told me, like Roma just said or whatever, there's something called a fasted workout. Okay, a fasted workout is a workout which you're doing while you're fasting. That has the maximum benefits. Even if it's like 15 minutes or 20 minutes, if you can go up to 30 minutes or more, good enough. But to get that fasted workout is very important. And what I would strongly suggest, because the weather is very good also, if you can combine that fasted workout with something like a morning walk where you can get sunshine and fresh air, because that also has a lot of beneficial impact on you. And exercise itself is good, but fasted exercise is something which will be of tremendous benefit to you. And that's when your fat stores will be mobilized, and also the process of autophagy happens when you're doing a fasted workout. So that's how, if you follow your intermittent fasting on these principles, you'll be able to you'll be able to see the results that you're looking for. And the results that you haven't been able to achieve because of whatever reason. So yes, having said that, in the morning, like somebody said, like I get up in the morning and on certain days I'm hungry. That's fine. That's totally fine on the days you're hungry and you're typically doing a 16-hour fast and you want to move it to 14, you want to move it to 13 or 15. Why 16, guys? I mean, what's the magic in 16? I want to know from where this magic number has come and who has given us this. 15 is good too. I love 15. I do 50. I don't do 60. So I don't know from where people come up with these figures and they feel, oh my God, if she's doing 16, she must be something great and something so terribly wrong with me that I can't do 16. That's all right. It's her body. It's working for her. It's not working for me. And be respectful to your body for that. And you're not less than her. You're in no way less than a person who's fasting for 16 hours or 18 hours or 20 hours. In fact, maybe that person is putting herself or himself into so much stress that you're not even aware of. So you do what works for you. And honestly, if I do 15, I'm very good. I want to start this new trend of 15-hour window because I love that. I don't like 16. So it's really up to you. And why not 13? All these are good numbers too. And honestly, on certain days, like with Ashwini, we do the moon cycle fasting. Certain days I don't feel like eating like half the day. That's fine. Certain days I want to do like a water fast or a fruit fast or a smoothie fast. That's amazing. Just have smoothies, say, for half the day. That's also fine. So that's what intermittent fasting is, so flexible. You can move it to whichever way. Please don't fall into a box and the day you're not able to complete the 16 hours, you're beating yourself up. Oh my God, I'm like, ruined because I'm not able to fast for 16 hours. My whole fasting has gone off. There's nothing like that.
All right. I think that was pretty informative, and I think how to do effective intermittent fasting is what I think we learned in this entire.
I think I would call it circadian fasting, honestly.
Circadian fasting.
The circadian gut rest. When you, according to the cycle of nature, you give your gut rest.
Okay. All right. So are there any conditions where this intermittent fasting should not be practiced?
Absolutely. There are.
Yeah.
Certainly some sort of physiological conditions under which intermittent fasting should not be practiced. Number one, if you are already in some sort of a stress, okay? If you have a case of any kind of stress in your life, you're under some anxiety or some depression or anything else, your body is already going through too much, please don't burden it more by forcing it to intermittent fast. Just let it be. Just leave all those expectations from your body, let them go, let life settle down, lead your normal life, keep doing your exercise, keep eating well. And when you're feeling ready and strong mentally, physically, emotionally, then go back to intermittent fasting. So that's number one. When you are stressed out, please forget doing all this. Don't even bother. Don't even punish yourself. Oh, I'm not able to do it. So, my whole health is going to get ruined. Nothing's going to happen. So don't do it. Secondly, if you are suffering from any sort of eating disorders, like it could be, I doubt if any of you are, but if a person is, like bulimia or anorexia or binge eating or things like that, please do not do intermittent fasting. It's not going to work for you. Again, if you have some sort of a heart disease, because your electrolyte balance may go off because of intermittent fasting, I would strongly suggest you do it under the supervision of a professional. Otherwise, refrain from doing it on your own. If you have something like a gallstone condition, gallstones, please don't do intermittent fasting. And lastly, if you are pregnant or lactating or anything like that, again, intermittent fasting is not for you. So in all these conditions, intermittent fasting should not be practiced. Otherwise, each and every one of us can do intermittent fasting, but is there one standard way of doing it? No, there isn't a standard way of doing it. It's different for different people. What you need to do is be consistent. And also, before I end, I have to tell you this again, intermittent fasting is not a magic pill. It's not something on its own which is going to give you a result, just like with everything else. You have to combine intermittent fasting, circadian rhythms, lifestyle, sleep cycles, a very, very healthy diet, stress-free life, and a very good gut health. When all this comes together in a very consistent manner, at least 80% of the time, as I said, 5 days out of 7, if you're able to do that very mindfully, there is absolutely no reason for you not to see benefits out of such a time-tested practice like fasting.
All right, I think that pretty much. So I think that brings us to a question. There could be different types of stress that people may be going through, right? It could be work stress, it could be a relationship stress, it could be self-esteem, low esteem, and things like that. So, do you also address those kind of things? Is there any way a person can identify that they're going through a stress? And is there any condition in the body which reflects that, okay, I'm going through stress and I don't think I should really punish my body by fasting? I mean, I'm not sure if this is a directly related question, but are there any indications which one should look out for, which indicates that you don't need to do fasting at this stage, but get more balanced and then look at intermittent fasting? Is there anything that?
Ashwini, that is in fact an excellent question. Because honestly, we do go through all kinds of stressful phases, whether it is with relationships, whether it is health related stress, or whatever, illness in the family or something else, whatever kind of stress. At that point, please don't pressurize your body or yourself to do any kind of forced extended fast, because your body is anyway trying to cope with something else which is far bigger. So look after your health overall. Are there any signs that will tell you that your body is under stress? Of course there are signs. There could be signs like, it's again different for different people. For some people it could be insomnia. For some people, it could be overeating. For some people, it could be complete lack of appetite. For some people, it could be anxieties. For some people, it could be feeling extremely low. And to me, honestly, as a nutritionist and a health coach, the importance of emotional health and mental health is way beyond your physical health. What you're putting into your body as food and following and running after all these fads is not at all as critical as looking after yourself and your body on an emotional and mental level, and then moving on to all this. So it's actually extremely important.
All right. Okay. So yeah, I think
that was a superb thought. Superb, Nidhi. I would give you a big applause for that.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, I don't know who this person. Thank you so much. But seriously, I mean, that's one thing that I tell each and every client who comes to me. Please, emotional, mental health is way beyond physical health. I wouldn't say eating all the kale, broccoli, vegetables, supplements, antioxidants, they're not going to do anything for you if your body and you're not a happy person.
Totally. Yeah. All right. So I think that pretty much summarizes our intermittent fasting webinar. Is there anything else which you have missed out on, Nidhi, or should we just take on more questions?
No, I'd love to. Now tell me, guys, any questions from here? Because what we need to do is become really, really mindful as intermittent fasters, and keep in mind the things that we have learned today. I'm always there for help, so please do reach out. I would love for you to be successful. It's not, I mean, gaining information and knowledge is very important, but then putting it into practical use is something else. And when you start using it and putting it in practical use, then you will realize where is it that you're having issues and where you would like help. And I think reaching out for help, there's absolutely no shame in it. Ask for help, reach out, figure out if somebody can help you out and improve the way that you've been doing something, because sometimes you're not able to see something, so which somebody else can help you with. So any questions
yeah, we do have questions. I think I'll just quickly take the questions which have been left in the chat box, and then we can open it up. So can
Right.
you share your healthy fruit list, as fruit is high in fructose, which will increase your glucose level in the body?
Fruit is high in fructose. Yeah, fructose is fruit sugar, but that's not the only thing that fruit has. Fruit has a number of other benefits. Now, if you're looking at fruits with lower fructose levels, I would say things like berries. My top favorite are berries. Blueberries, number one. Then, of course, blackberries, strawberries, raspberries, papayas, pears, apples, citrus fruit. These are the fruits. Bananas, they're all excellent fruits. Even dates are excellent.
Avocado? I mean, sorry, did you talk?
Avocado, I'm a huge fan of. Yeah, it's amazing, amazing.
It doesn't have sweet, is it? Because it's so bland.
It is. In fact, the beauty of avocado is, and that's why it's being used in appetizers, it's being used in desserts, it's because it can take the taste of whatever you put in it. It has no taste. But what it does have is an abundance of, it's a superfood. It's got an abundance of so many nutrients, very high in fiber, good fats, lots of vitamins, minerals. And yeah, so it can be used in a variety of ways. You can put cocoa powder, starts tasting like a chocolate pudding. You put lemon juice, salt, pepper, onions, it starts, becoming like a dip.
Okay, yeah.
You can do a lot with it.
All right. So that is something. Can you quickly do a recap of what you meant by fasted workout?
Okay, so fasted workout is the workout that you will be doing when you wake up in the morning and you're still fasting. You have not put anything in your mouth, no fruit, nothing. At this point, I am not going to dictate to you that this is the workout that you should be doing, okay? Because that depends on your energy levels and your preferences. I can't be forcing a kind of workout in something that doesn't work for you. But what I'm telling you is 20 minutes of anything, any kind of workout. It could be yoga, it could be a walk, it could be a jog, it could be a run, it could be swimming, it could be cycling, it could be weightlifting, treadmill, whatever you do. But if you do it as a fasted workout, the benefits get doubled and tripled compared to doing a workout any other time of the day.
All right. Can any medication be taken in the morning?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. I mean, are you sure, Nidhi? I mean, I am having my doubts. Can medication be taken? Because isn't it like putting chemicals in our body?
Then, you cannot be like, supposing you're on a thyroid medicine, for example, right? You have to have it in the morning.
Okay.
First thing in the morning. So don't play around with that. And that's your medicines and your necessary supplements. Like if you're on an iron supplement, if you're on, discretionary supplements like, different kinds of antioxidants or glutathione or, stuff like that, fancy supplements, don't have them. But things which are absolutely necessary for you, please have it. That's totally all right.
All right. Okay. And can you define a good gut health? How can we practice that? I think we, in fact, had a very nice webinar with Nidhi on gut health. So perhaps you may want to attend that next time. But if you want to just quickly touch upon it, you can feel free, Nidhi ji.
No, it's too vast a topic, honestly. Gut health.
Okay.
And gut health is something which is extremely dear to me. And most of my webinars and most of my conversations move around the gut, because gut is 90% of our health depends on our gut, on our digestive system. But just because we are in the intermittent fasting webinar, I would really like to say that fasting has a hugely beneficial effect on gut health, because your gut wall is able to heal and repair itself while you're fasting. And your gut can get a rest. It can throw out all the waste material. Instead of constantly being burdened with food, it gets the rest that it needs. So there was this culture and this certain trend that was very popular for a while, and that was eating on demand. So you just eat all the time in the day. That to me doesn't make sense at all, because if you're doing that, just as I explained very scientifically to you, your insulin levels will always be high. So your insulin is constantly elevated in your body and it's constantly storing the fat energy, which is excess, because you're definitely eating excess.
All right. Okay, there are some times when we feel hungry at night, isn't it? What about that? Because we know that the digestive fires kind of go off post sunset. But then there are times when you do feel hungry in the night and you end up eating. What is your view on that?
Well, if you are feeling, see, slowly as you're doing a good intermittent fast and you have been nourishing your body really well during the building phase, the eating phase, you will find your body is going to get used to not eating after, say, 7:38 p.m. In fact, if you eat after that, you make an observation that you stop your dinner at 7:30 and then you see how you feel till you get to bed. And you eat your dinner at 10:30, 11, and then you see how you feel. And you will notice how different your body feels. Now, the days that you're feeling hungry at night, again, it's some sort of a craving which ultimately you should be able to get out of. But if you want to do an intermittent fast, you can't be eating. If you are feeling very hungry and you feel you just will collapse without it, then forget the fast and you eat till you can build in that stamina in your body. Okay, you slowly build in the stamina. Don't expect it to happen overnight. The other thing that you can do is sometimes your body is getting a confusing signal between hunger and thirst. So what I would say is have some herbal tea and see how that makes you feel. Have a nice big glass of warm herbal tea, anything. Homemade is the best, but any, good quality packaged tea also, and see how you feel with that. And challenge your body. Stretch yourself a little bit. Do a bit of meditation, do a bit of deep breathing, divert yourself, read something, and maybe the hunger goes away. I think deep breathing is so powerful in changing your, hunger receptors. So try that and see if that works. And if it doesn't work, don't punish your body that day. Just have something and maybe give it a try another time.
All right, sounds great. So anybody else has any questions? Because I think it was such a wonderful webinar that we are receiving thanks from the participants, and I don't see much questions coming through. So if you would like to ask any questions, please unmute yourself and you can feel free to ask.
I would like to ask something. Nidhi, I was going to ask you, how is it better to start your morning with a glass of hot water with lime or honey, or with a fruit?
I'm not able to see who's asking this question, but
I am Shruti here from Mumbai, India. Actually, my camera is not working of the laptop. It suddenly got conked today. So that's why you're not able to see me.
No worries, Shruti. No worries. So your question was, in the morning, should you have warm water with honey?
Warm water with honey and lime to start your day, or you would suggest to start with a fruit?
I would suggest you can have both. Start your day with warm water, lemon juice, and good quality honey. When I say honey, you have to have very good quality, raw, organic, unpasteurized honey. Otherwise, the honey that you're having from shelves in supermarkets is just processed sugar. So,
agreed with
honey
you.
is very, very good. But of course, take half a teaspoon, not more than that, in one glass of water. Start your day with that. Follow it up with some fruit. You can have both. It's not an either or thing.
So how much time gap should be there between your honey and lime water?
I would say 15 minutes is good.
Oh, 15 minutes is good enough?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Unless you're feeling full and you don't feel like it. Then you listen to your body. But if you are okay with it, then absolutely, it is good.
And how would you gauge to start your day with a banana? Like if you don't have honey and warm water, if you start your day with a banana?
You can. A banana is an excellent fruit to start your day with.
Yeah, I believe that your bones and etc. get stronger with if you have banana on an empty stomach. Is that true?
Bananas has a number of benefits on my body. So a banana is an excellent way to start your day with. And you can have it after your lemon water, or you can have it the first thing. It's totally up to you.
Okay. Thanks a ton, Nidhi.
You're most welcome, Shruti.
Hi, Nidhi. This is Sylvie from Malaysia. I would like to ask, because I've been practicing intermittent fasting for almost a year.
Okay.
So I've been doing 18 to 20 hours every day, except for Saturday and Sunday, which is weekend. In the beginning, I lose weight, but now it's stagnant. That's one thing. And second thing, I noticed that my energy level is very, very low because I do vigorous workout daily. And I don't think so I'm eating enough as well. So I do feel that my energy level is low. So do you think that I need to take any supplements to actually, like, supply back my body? That's one. And secondly, that it affects my bowel movement as well, as I don't go to toilet like every day. It maybe takes me like 3 to 4 days once, which I don't think so is healthy. It's not a healthy gut for me.
Not at all.
Yeah.
If I were you, I would stop everything and first fix my gut and fix my bowel situation. That's way more important than exercising, losing weight, doing intermittent fasting, starving yourself for 20 hours, feeling low energy. It's not worth it, Savi. So what I would say is, firstly, it'll be nice if you can work with a professional, somebody who can guide you as to how you should manage your day and solve your digestive issues, number one, then your energy issues, and then of course the weight and all after that. And I would experiment with and be a little bit more flexible with your intermittent fasting, because probably, I'm not saying for sure, but being a woman, like what I was saying, you actually put your body in a lot of stress by fasting 18 to 20 hours every day. I don't think that's necessary at all, number one. And even to have a regular bowel movement, you need to eat. If you don't have food in your body, what are you going to take out? And what you're eating in the eating window is also very important. So weight loss is important for sure, but not at the cost of your energy, not at the cost of your digestive health, not at the cost of holding toxins in your body and not being able to get rid of them. So having a regular bowel movement at least once a day is imperative. If you're not doing that, that's the first thing that you need to focus on.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Any more questions?
Nidhi, after you have your banana in the morning or a fruit, after that, after how long can you start exercising? What is the suggestion of a gap to be maintained?
Okay, so it all depends on the kind of exercise. If I'm having fruit and just fruits, you said, right?
Yeah, just one fruit, in fact. Maybe I have the smaller variety of banana, which we call the elaichi banana.
Yeah.
So maybe I have that sometimes 1 or 2. And then after half an hour, start yoga or a workout.
Perfectly
The
okay.
workout is also not very strenuous.
It's perfectly okay. One small banana, that small kind, is not going to hamper you in any way. So they normally say on a very full stomach, you should not be exercising, again, because your body needs the energy to digest your food and you shouldn't be stressing your body. But just one banana, that's perfectly okay. But as I said, please try and incorporate a fasted workout for 15 minutes, have your banana, and then do the rest of your workout.
You fasted workout before the banana, I didn't get you.
Means like before you eat your bananas, if you're still in your fasted state, try and go for a 15-minute walk if you can. Try and do a 15-minute exercise, yoga practice if you can.
And then have the banana, you mean?
And then have the banana. And then after eating the banana, if you want to do more workout for another half an hour, you can. Give a gap eat your banana, give a gap of say 15-20 minutes, and you can exercise again.
Okay. Or will you think this will work if you have your banana and then give a 1 hour gap and then start your exercise? You feel that is okay? Because we do,
You don't
because
need.
I do it online. So
Sorry?
I do it online. So my teacher is there online. So I can't do the exercise and then eat and then again
Okay, yeah, sure.
exercise.
1 hour is perfect too. It's absolutely okay.
Okay, so a gap of 1 hour after banana is better than a half an hour gap or something, you mean?
I can't say it's better. With just one banana, some people may feel okay after half an hour gap should definitely be there. But even 1 hour is perfect also.
Okay, great. Thanks a ton.
You're most welcome.
All right. I think I don't see any more questions coming in. Thank you so much, Nidhi ji. As always, very, very informative, very, very clear, very, very step by step oriented. I'm sure all of you enjoyed this session. I think a lot of questions about intermittent fasting got clarified in our webinar. So yes, enjoy your festivities. Just before we are done for the day, I would like to let you know that we are running exciting Diwali hampers and offers at our store. So Nidhi ji, I think organic eating is also very important, isn't it? As much as you're fasting, eating right is also very, very important. So yes, please do check out our website, and we will also be sending you the festive hampers and offers that are going on our store on the group that we have created. Do avail the offers, and wishing you all a wonderful evening. Wishing you all a wonderful, wonderful Diwali. I'll just quickly unmute all of them so that, yeah, I think it's already unmuted. So please, because all of you are really a good group of friends, so you can wish each other over here. Take the
Thank you.
Happy
Thank you
Diwali.
so much. It
And
was a
Nidhi,
great
So
session.
wonderful to see you all.
thanks a lot, Nidhi. And Nidhi, you'll have to help us after the festive season, okay?
Yeah,
I'll be knocking on your door.
exactly.
But it was a wonderful session. Thoroughly enjoyed it. A lot
Lovely.
of
Learned
information
loads.
gained
Thank you so
by
much.
us. So thanks a lot.
It was a
Thank
very
you.
special session for me to see so many of my good friends there.
Thank you, darling.
Lovely.
Bye,
Happy
Nidhi.
Diwali.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks,
Bye,
Ashwini.
Nidhi. Thank you.
All our participants joining us from India and Malaysia, a very special thank you to you.
Yeah, special.
Thank you, Nidhi. It was I really loved your practical approach to life and food. I think it's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so
And
much.
thanks, Nidhi and Ashwini. Thank you for organizing. Really good. And love
Thank
all your
you.
stuff anyway.
Yeah.
All your organic stuff is amazing.
Thank you.
Her
Thank you so much.
products are amazing, guys. They're really, really good quality stuff.
Nidhi, if you maintain a lifestyle with 12 hours fasting as a way of life,
Sorry, I'm going to have
how would you look at it?
I
I'm
look
going
at it,
to
I
have
look
to
at it
leave,
very well. I think that's perfectly okay. But as I said, your body also falls into a very, it's a comfort zone. So at least 3 times a week, try and push yourself a little bit outside your comfort zone. And trust me, you can. Start with
Okay.
13.
Okay.
So from 12, move on to 13 for a whole month. Do 13 3 times a week.
Okay. That's
And
a
then-
great suggestion.
guys. I'm going to have to leave. So bye and thank you.
Bye.
And
Bye.
when you
Thank you
send
so
us your details of your products, then we can also start getting your products from you.
Definitely. I think Nidhi ji has come up with a lot of recipes using our products. And thank you so much for your love,
Yes,
Nidhi ji.
yes.
She
Oh,
likes our products.
That's
So
what
thank
we
you so
really need to incorporate
you.
in our daily food.
Thank you.
That's
I
true.
really missed your this webinar on gut health, Nidhi, which you
Yeah, the
were.
gut
We
health
will
one
have
is
it again. We would
fabulous.
like to hear
Yeah,
that.
I really missed that.
We will
Can
repeat
you have
again.
a
We
session?
will be repeating
I
it.
think gut health is really something that I would urge, I would really request you all to come and listen to that one.
Yeah,
We will be
please let
repeating
us
Can you
know.
plan it?
You're
Can you
going to have
plan
the
one?
next session.
We would love to be a part of it.
Yeah,
Yes.
Ashwini, if you could plan the.
Yes, we will be repeating it soon now that the festivities have come in. Like we have Diwali, and then soon after that we have a Christmas break and everything coming in. So we will definitely be planning one soon in the first half of 2021. So look out for it.
Why so late? Why not
That's
in
too
between?
late. We can fit it in soon after Diwali.
Yeah, I mean,
So here, Nidhi, again,
Nidhi,
soon
you
after
please find
Diwali.
some time for us.
All right, why
Have
don't
another
why
session.
don't I take a poll? So let me do one thing. Let me just come up with a date and let me see how many participants we have and how many are interested. And if, like I said, among your own family and friends, you can spread the word to many, many more people who can come and join us, and which will encourage all of us to host more of gut health webinars in a shorter period of time. So I'll definitely try and see if I can do that, and you can definitely join in. Yeah. We can
Thank
plan
you.
something end of month or so. We will definitely take your request into consideration.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Bye. Bye, Nidhi.
Bye.
Good.
Bye all.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, Ashwini. Thank you so much.
Bye, Nidhi. It was lovely
Thank you.
conversing with you, and thanks for all your tip. Any tip before I leave?
I'm not going to disappear. I'm going to be on the WhatsApp group, so ask me
Sure.
anything.
Yeah, the group is going to be there, so you can feel free to just ask.
But
Yeah,
honestly,
but
if I was to leave one tip, I would say live mindfully in every way possible.
I totally agree with you,
Just
Nidhi.
start getting mindful of what you watch, what you eat, what you listen to, what you know, how you live, how you think, your emotions, everything. Health is just so much more than just doing one intermittent fasting, to be
I
honest.
swear.
Yeah.
The mental health is the most important, as you said, and I agree with you. If you have your mental health, even your physical health falls.
Will improve on its
Yeah.
own. It'll
Definitely.
just lift up your energies.
Yeah.
I agree with you completely. All right.
Okay.
Have
Have a good evening.
everyone.
Thank you, Nidhi.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Good night.
We have so many groups, no, Ashwini, like now with all the different webinars, I think we will reach a target of, I don't know how many hundreds of groups by that time the lockdown gets over.
Yeah, true that. But then you can choose to stay in one, and you can, because I anyway post about the upcoming webinars in all the groups. So you can choose to stay in one and like leave the other ones.
Yeah, so even if we leave, but you have to maintain that, no, for all the information, etc.
Yeah, that
Now, like pertaining now to this group. Suppose now intermittent fasting we've done.
Yeah.
So how do we be in touch then with the speaker or something?
He is always available on the group, right? Like on
Yeah, so on the group, so we have to maintain all those groups. We cannot delete those groups. Like for sustainable group is the main core group, so which we are there.
Yeah.
So that we've kept it open.
Yeah.
Okay, here the other groups you exit yourself, you will not get messages, but ultimately you have to retain those groups, no?
Yeah, I keep it, but generally what happens is it's me who is sharing information. And Nidhi ji is sharing her information. One more, there's a gut health group. So I will host the gut health again soon, because like you have expressed interest, we will be hosting gut health again. You can join that group, because I anyway post on all the groups.
Yeah, we get information on all the groups. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, but I've exited the other groups because then it gets same information gets too much.
Absolutely.
But I have not deleted those groups. I've just exited. So the speaker and what was there, just to recap back.
Absolutely. You
so
can
that way we will have so many groups. That's what I'm saying. By the end, we'll have so many multiple groups.
No, I think now we will start repeating few webinars, because many people have asked me to repeat the webinars. We'll do some repeat sessions, and we will soon be coming up with some new sessions as well. All right.
Great,
Okay.
Ashwini.
Thank you. And you're from Mumbai, right?
I'm waiting. Yeah, Ashwini, I'm from Mumbai. I'm awaiting your products.
Yeah. We are already in a planning stage, because we need to set up the logistics and the deliveries and the lot of things which we need to put together. So we are working on it. So allow us some time. Soon. 6 months was the target that I gave, but we are targeting as early as Jan. So yeah.
Oh, Jan would be lovely if you could manage it. In fact, I spoke to certain people. I put your thing for you to, as you said, that get more friends and all. So I put your flyers on a couple of big groups which I have. But they are of the opinion that for 1 hour, like you're charging according to Dubai,
Yeah.
you know,
I understand that. I understand
like
that.
it's Dubai currency. So if you see from India point of view the currency, then it gets, you know, if you convert it, then it gets expensive. So if you're in Dubai and you're paying in dirhams, then it is fine for those people. But if you're in another part of the country and you're paying according to that, so that they said that, see, it is not the point of money or anything, but it is like how much frequently we are just taking it value for money.
No,
That's what we
absolutely.
are
I
seeing.
take your feedback very constructively. Why not? I will definitely look at coming up with the alternative arrangement for India. And like I said,
So then many people might
many people
participate.
will.
Like today, I didn't find it because I said that for 2 hours you're paying $1,000 in India currency. You know, that is like justified.
Yeah.
But people were finding it for 1 hour paying $1,000. They were finding it because we are having webinars of one hour of computer literacy and so many other things also we are having. So the maximum charges is like 250. There are even people charging 150 and 200. And
I think when we launch in India, it's going to be a different model altogether. Just allow us some time to, because right now we are operating out of UAE. So obviously, as it will be the UAE model, but when we launch in India, it will be a India model. So allow us some time.
Okay, sure. That would be great. I was just thinking like now also you could get some participants from India, you know, so by the time you would come in, there would already be a lot of known.
Absolutely, you're right. So no, that's a very, very good point. Very, very valid point. So I will definitely work on it now, because I have my next webinar coming up on cooking for university children. Like a lot of parents who have their children in the universities, right? But then how do they eat breakfast, and how do you eat breakfast? I'm coming up with that. Why not? Definitely, I'm going to be looking at coming up with a different arrangement and a different flyer. Perhaps maybe I will probably have some India contact who can circulate it in India, so that it is not clashing with the Dubai participants, you know.
Right, that would be great. So then, you know, they don't feel it like
So
by
I
the
need to
charges
maintain a
less,
balance.
etc. Yes.
I need to
Yes.
maintain a balance. It's very important. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense, you know.
I
So,
agree with you, that model, yes.
yeah, so that's the reason. So fair enough. Thank you,
So
Shruti. Thank you so much.
You know anyone in Mumbai also?
Not yet. Why not? I'll definitely figure out soon.
Okay.
But if you know,
I can be of any, if I can be of any help to you or any assistance.
Sure, why not? I mean, you can probably, we can talk about this. You can probably let me know if you know any groups who are already conducting webinars and everything. You know, we can collaborate with them, and we can hold the webinars and things like that. So, or if you already are in different groups, you can you know, like you rightly said, you already have shared it with your groups. So then it will multiply, right? So that is how it's going to work. So
Yeah,
I
because
store your
I'm in a, yeah, you store my number, so we can always, when you're planning to come to India, and if you want to do something in Mumbai, always we can always work out some, I can be of any help to you, let me know. And if you want to work out some business module also, we can do it.
Definitely, Shruti, definitely. Why not?
So anything under the earth, anything under the sun, we can work out. That is not an issue.
Thank you, Shruti. Are you working or are you a homemaker?
I'm a multitasker.
That's beautiful, beautiful. I like it. I love it. And that's what I am as well. So that's wonderful to know. So why not, Shruti? I think I know a reliable person who I can probably come back to when I'm going to India. Yeah.
Definitely. And when you come to India anytime, do give me a buzz, and we will definitely meet up. It would be really great.
Sure.
In fact, I know very highly acclaimed healers in Dubai who I'm very, very close to. They are into pranic healing.
Yeah.
Not pranic healing, sorry. They are into a different healing, which is they teach also, and they give.
Okay.
That's I don't know if you've heard of Brinda and Charu.
I think I have Brinda and Charu. Okay, I think I
Yeah.
have. I think so.
You know, they do this, they do some specialized healing, which
Okay.
they have a particular name, but I am not at the moment recollecting what is their special healing, which they teach also.